The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hello, friends. Just after high noon, I just had a wonderful super texter ask me how high is noon, or how did noon get so high? Well, it's obviously Kamala Harris's proposal that we legalize marijuana across the United States of America. Hello, friends. My name is Matt Murphy, and this, conveniently enough, is called the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Over the course of the next 3 hours, we hope to educate, to inform, and hopefully entertain you during that span of time before we hand off to Brian Wilson and The Drive. It is Monday, October 14, 2024. It is a federal holiday that we call Columbus Day. It is also known in some circles as Indigenous Peoples Day, which has never been an easy thing to say. We'll talk about the celebration of Columbus Day and why we should celebrate those that choose to explore, to push the boundaries of human existence and human experience, particularly those that are doing it right now in our very midst and are being vilified as a result of their support of one particular political candidate over another. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Let me just peel the Band-Aid off. I'm going to compare Elon Musk to Christopher Columbus today. And no, he has not killed any indigenous or enslaved any indigenous peoples. Columbus did, by the way. There were warts and all going on, but a lot of people got enslaved back in the day when a lot of different cultures and countries did those sorts of things. Anyway, more on that coming up in just a moment. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope your team won, et cetera, et cetera. It is Locks for Trump Day 226. The locks are getting quite long. We've spent the better part of a year growing out our hair in anticipation of a new president-elect. I do not have Bell K, Headless Bell, in the background today. More on that in a moment. We have Mason checking in and subbing in for the sick Bell K.
He's slacking off.
In a lot of different ways, he's sick. Hello, Mason.
Hey.
How's it going?
Doing well. How you doing?
How you like the hair? It's looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks good. I was going to ask, can you braid it yet? Have you tried?
Braid it?
Braid it. I don't know.
I mean, I imagine I could. I could ask someone to braid it.
Be interesting.
If they wanted to. I mean, I could do some cornrows.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to do some cornrows.
Just don't put it in a bun, dude.
There's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom. Ken Weaver. We need a Ken Weaver walk-up song.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, don't you think we need that?
I'd fight for that.
I mean, right? I mean, when we introduced him in the lunchtime hour, the Libertarian lunch, I mean, this is the first time that a lot of people are listening to the radio since this morning. They're off, at lunch.
Just a reintroduction back to the show.
I got a request.
What's that, Weaver?
Ooh.
TV Dinners by ZZ Top.
Okay.
I freaking love that song.
Work on it, Mason. Work on it. I tell you what, Mason, you find the song, you get it to the right spot, and we'll do it in the 1 o'clock hour.
Awesome.
You with
I'm
it?
here for it.
What's up, Weaver?
Nothing much, dude. Nothing much. Just getting ready for another week here. A lot of news starting to flow in. You know, Monday news is interesting.
Yeah.
You spend about, up until now, everything's just kind of regurgitated.
The weekend.
Yeah, it's regurgitated from the weekend, from Friday. Now we're starting to get a little movement. You see on the campaign trail today, Democrats have rolled out former President Clinton over there in Columbus, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and obviously Democrats are really worried about the polling showing the majority of Americans surveyed do not trust Democrats with the economy.
Nope.
They don't trust them with immigration either.
They do not.
And those are the two biggies. And so that's starting to flow now. So yeah, just starting to write it all up, and I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to forget Saturday.
No, just
oh
don't
my
listen.
goodness.
Listen.
I told Paul, you know, our boss. I told Paul. I said
I call him New Suit, Ken. I call him New Suit.
Yeah,
New Suit.
I told New Suit. I said, listen, I'm going to have to stand up to do my news today because my ass is still hurting from Saturday.
Here's what I'm going to Ken. Your defense did everything they could in the first half.
Dude, they're starting to tire out.
But you cannot ask that. I mean, you know. I don't need to tell you. You know more about football than I do. You know.
You can't go up against. You can't go up against a team like Texas that does appear to be SEC ready.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot go up against these teams week in and week out with your offense going 3 and out.
That's right.
Eventually,
it catches up with you.
It catches up with you. And, boy, I mean, hats off to Texas. I mean, they look good. They look good. I
think they're the best team in the country.
I think they may be, man. I think they may be. Now, we're going to find out.
Well, I mean, I think, look, I'm a Larry Munson era pessimist when it comes to my Georgia Bulldogs. 2 national championships notwithstanding, Ken.
Right.
But I don't think Georgia has to put together at their place a game that we've not seen all year. And Texas just has to play their game. And if Georgia does not put together that perfect game, offensively and defensively, that we've not seen all year, then we lose. But, whatever. We'll find out together.
We'll find out. And you know what? Hats off to Vanderbilt.
How about some anchor down? Is that what they say?
That's what they say.
That's
say
what they
anchor
say.
Down.
It feels like we should say anchors up. But I don't.
Yeah, it's anchored down.
But it's anchored down.
They're standing strong in their positions.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay,
we're not moving.
We're not moving.
Well,
standing strong.
And here's the thing. One of my friends on Facebook pointed out, why is Vanderbilt not ranked yet?
Well,
they're not even in the top 25.
That's a great question. What are they? Are they 4-2?
I think they're
4-2. Yeah. I think it might be that Georgia Southern loss or Georgia State loss or whatever it is. That
might have been it.
But, I mean, if you think they win that game, and they clearly should have won that game, they have better players. They're 5-1, man. They're
right.
And their only loss is right at the end of the game to Mizzou.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think obviously this is a great season for them. It's a demonstration of what happens in the new era of NIL and transfer portals.
And Vanderbilt's got they've got some money.
They've got some cash.
Just a little bit.
The question is, do they want to spend it on football? Yeah. If they want to spend it on football, then the rest of the SEC might be in a little bit of trouble with this transfer portal.
I mean, they kind of gotta if they want to replace that gold they ripped up.
Right?
There's going to be a bunch of 6'5", 300-pound doctors and lawyers out there.
That's right.
Oh, no.
All right, and that's football on the talk station. And by the way, for Dan Mandis, who's probably listening right now, that was only 4 minutes, not an hour.
Yes, sir.
We got accused of talking football for an hour this morning, Ken.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you hear that? Mandis is turning on you. Your good buddy Dan Mandis, now that he's won that Marconi Award.
Yeah,
he comes and he's got it glued to the top of his head. So you can't miss it.
Head's all swelled up. His head's all swelled up.
Head.
That's right. But anyway, hope your weekend went well. And like Ken said, are you ready for the next 3 weeks? How many presidential elections have you done?
It's on, dude.
Been a lot of them, right?
Yeah, I've been in news. Well, I've been in like purely news and radio since 1993.
Oh, wow.
So I've done a few of them, and they've never, outside of 2000, in 2000 is the first really neck and neck one. And then
This is your 8th.
Yeah, this is my 8th.
Wow.
And I mean, I've never really done anything. Yeah, I mean, I've just reported the results.
Well, but I mean, they continue to seem to get crazier and crazier.
Well, I'll tell you this. Yes, sir. If you would have told me back in 1993, I would be reporting on the things I am now from the campaign trail, I would have said, "What?
What are you talking
You're
about?
crazy."
What is social media? I don't even know what that means. 1993, Ken would say.
But I tell you what, it's interesting. I mean, it is interesting to see how the Democrats are having to pivot now because clearly they know they're in trouble.
Yep.
And it's this ABC News Ipsos poll that they've rolled out this morning showing that Kamala Harris is still leading among likely voters by 50 to 46%. They're actually doing some journalism by saying, you know what, she had a 5-point lead just last month and it's going away.
Right.
And it's steadily going away. And it's because of the economy and immigration. It clearly is.
Is that the I don't know if this is the same poll. I know NBC had a poll out where it was even at 48 to 48. That same polling organization polled a month ago, and Harris was ahead 49 to 44. So, I mean, there are multiple polls that show the national the national number has shrunk for Harris. She had a natural lead embedded in, California and,
Sure.
and New York and some of these more liberal states. But let me tell you, it is nip and tuck. Here's my message as we get the show started today. Run through the tape. If you believe in the United States of America as I do, I'm not asking you to be a Trump supporter. I'm asking you to be a supporter of the United States of America as we understand it and know it. I'm asking you to be a supporter of sovereignty and the ability to control our borders and manage who comes in and who goes out of the United States of America in that regard. I'm asking you to believe in American energy independence. I'm asking you to believe in the ability for America to manufacture things again, to get on balance with our trade wars, to get on balance with our foreign conflicts, to not put boots on the ground in other parts of the world. I'm asking you to run through the tape on this Monday before the Tuesday that is 3 weeks out before Election Day. Now, I understand that we can feel all good about ourselves when you see some of these numbers, and you should not dismiss some of the numbers that we're seeing now because people are actually voting now. You know how I feel about polling 3 months out. But when it comes to 3 weeks out, it matters because it gives us, you put all of these snapshots in time together, and it gives us a clear understanding of where we are and where we are moving. But you have to run through the tape. Look, I'm a golfer. I'm not a very good one, but I'm a golfer. Had a great time Saturday morning at Two Rivers. And I met a guy, his name was Nash, but he was not named after Nashville. He was named, it was a family name, and he's a lieutenant colonel in the United States military, in the Air Force. And he was a single, and we had a threesome, and they paired him with us, and I got a chance to play golf with him. And Nash, if you're listening to the show today, hello, shout out to you, and thank you for your service to your country and what you do. 27 years, Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Air Force. And I was playing golf, and I was not finishing my swing. I have this tendency of once I hit the ball, then that's it. And anybody that's ever played golf, you have to swing through the ball. You have to finish the swing. If you do not finish the swing, the outcome of the swing itself is not going to be acceptable to you. Now, it doesn't seem like there should be anything that you have to do after you hit the ball. So you go to the polls and you vote. Maybe you vote early in the state of Tennessee. Maybe you're doing that. Maybe, the people that you know in Pennsylvania or Indiana or Georgia or North Carolina, God forbid no one is not allowed. North Carolina is a mess, and we need to make sure that those people in rural North Carolina are able to vote, especially in the western parts of that state that we've much talked about in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. We've got to encourage these folks to run through the tape, to finish their swing, to finish this drill, to finish it off for the safety and security of the United States of America's future. This is not about – I understand that he is an entity that sucks all of the oxygen out of the room. And I understand that if you talk to one set of people, they consider him the next incarnation of Adolf Hitler. And if you talk to another set of people, he is, anything next to the Messiah, right? I mean, so I understand that there are wild swings about Donald Trump. For me, over the next 3 weeks, it is, yes, about his policies. It's about his belief in the United States of America, which is his essence, which is why people gravitate to him despite his failures. We understand naturally that he's telling us the truth when he tells us that he wants to make America great again. And we know exactly what that means. And it's not a negative. And it's not suggesting that we want to go back to the bad old ways. We want to go back to the good old ways. And people with common sense get it. We understand it. But if you surround yourself with those people, understand that there are other groups, other entities that are surrounding themselves with groups of people that want to change this country because they've bought into the narrative presented by the Democrats that we've never been a good country, that we've never lived up to our creed, and we have to fundamentally alter the way that we do our business in order to create equity, which is the definition of communism. And that is what Kamala Harris is all about, if anything. She doesn't stand for anything other than winning. And she is willing to dump the United States of America if she does achieve that victory. I believe that. I do not believe that Kamala Harris believes in the way that we do our government. I do not believe that she believes in the way that we handle our business in the United States of America. I don't believe that she doesn't have a fundamental belief in the sovereignty of the United States of America. Otherwise, she would have spoken up as the quote-unquote border czar over the last 3.5 years and not just over the last 3.5 months. I predicted, and I'm not, well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you about my prediction coming up in just a moment. And I was hoping, Belkay's sick today. He's got the flu or something or another, and Mason Fleming is in his stead. I wanted Bell here because Bell can confirm that I'm not making this up. I'm not breaking my arm, patting myself on the back, but I predicted that this would happen before Kamala Harris was the official nominee. And I'll tell you what this is in just a moment. Right after this. It's 22 after the hour. We're already getting heated up on the Libertarian Lunch on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Homeowners trust USS, which stands for United Structural Systems, but you don't have to believe me. When you go to the USS website at USSTN.com, you'll see over 25,000 satisfied residential customers, and many of their testimonials are right there on the page. That's right. People are satisfied when they get a visit from USS because they are problem solvers, friends. Look, USS doesn't want to come to your home and give you bad news, but if there's bad news, you need to hear it so you can repair it in advance of it getting worse. We're talking about foundation repair, waterproofing repair, concrete leveling. That's what they do at USS, and they are great at what they do. For over 30 years, they've been helping people keep their homes stable and dry in Middle Tennessee, and now it's time for them to help you. It's the nature of our topography that you have foundation issues. Let's get it handled. If you've noticed the warning signs, it's time to call USS. 615-488-7855, 488-7855, or go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Democrats rolling out a former president today to try to convince everyone who hasn't voted yet that Vice President Kamala Harris is better for the economy. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Kid Weaver. 26 minutes after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Libertarian Lunchtime Hour in progress. By the way, I mentioned it's Locks for Trump Day 226. My flowing locks. One of these days, I'll take off my headphones and I'll shake my hair out.
Yeah.
Show you what fur.
On a windy day, stare pensively at the sunset.
Maybe take a roller coaster like Fabio and avoid the geese, you know?
Yeah.
Hair flowing in the background.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get all your slow-mo cams ready.
I just can't, I can't wait for the moment where I wake up and I got a piece of it in my mouth. I remember that from my long-haired hippie days back in college.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always fun.
Well, you could do like me right now. On my way home, I like to roll down my window and have the wind suck my beard out.
That's nice. You ever wake up and a piece of the beard in the mouth?
Never have.
No,
I have not. That hasn't happened yet, and hopefully it does not.
I used to when I had longer chin whiskers, Ken.
Yeah.
I would find myself nervously chewing on them. Just
Oh, really?
and that's gross, and I didn't like that. So
So that's why you keep it below the lip line.
yeah, you got to keep it below the lip line, otherwise I'm chewing on.
I'll just take up smoking again if that happens.
I can't wait till I'm 70 and I take back up cigarettes.
Me too, man.
I'm gonna love it.
I can't wait. I think I might buy a lighter right now. And just
keep
put
it
it in
my
a
pocket.
box and wait.
Just keep it in my pocket, waiting on it.
You want that, or do you want to smoke the weed that Kamala's about to?
Oh, that's
make
right,
legal
Kamala.
now?
So you know I've got a list. Topic number 1 was run through the tape. Topic number 2 was Columbus Day. Topic number 3 on my little list, I always keep a little notepad, is Democrats are getting desperate. And I have A, B, C, D, E, F. I have 6 examples of the desperation of the Democrat Party with regard to the election. They know that it was they know that they were in a bad way. And they knew this from the point that they had to decide to replace Joe Biden. And it even starts before then. They put all of their eggs in this basket that Joe could manage to get through this election without keeling over and dying. And Joe could not manage to do that, although he has not died, and nobody's wishing that on him. I just want another president of the United States for 2025. That's what I want. They were counting on that, and it did not come to fruition, and they knew it. They tested the waters on June 27th when they had Joe Biden stand before the American people debating Donald Trump. There was a reason that debate was so early, and I said it at the time. It was the Biden replacement theory that we talked about at the time. And I'm not playing a game of Murphy was right when I tell you this, but Murphy was right when I tell you this. At the time, I said, this is a test case. If he does not do bad, they're booting him, and they're going to pull Kamala in. Or I said there was only 2 choices, Kamala Harris or Jill Biden, because Michelle Obama didn't want it. And the only way you skip Kamala is to do so with a female, preferably an African-American female like Michelle Obama, but Michelle Obama did not want it. Michelle Obama's living too high on the hog. Michelle Obama doesn't believe in the future of this country enough to run for president of the United States. And so you had to select Kamala. The same media organizations that have now propped her up, the same media organizations that are suggesting that she's awesome, that she's tip-top, that she's sliced bread, these same media organizations were trashing her in March. Not in March of 2019, not in March of 2022, like last March. The Washington Post ran an op-ed suggesting that you needed to get rid of Kamala so you could get rid of Joe and get somebody competent in there to run against Donald Trump. I mean, if you think about this from 100,000 feet, on both sides of the political aisle, what has gone on? They tried to get Trump by impeaching him. They tried to get Trump on 4 separate fronts with lawfare. They suggested at every moment, at every turn, with what they were doing, that Donald Trump was done for, that he was toast. And when none of that worked, somebody tried to kill him. And that didn't work either. That's on one side of the ledger. On the other side, it's just as amazing. And we'll continue that discussion coming up in just a moment. I predicted this before she was the nominee, how the polls would go, and I'm going to talk about that in just a sec. Take your telephone calls, 615-737-9986. Where you at? Where you feeling on the presidential election with 3 weeks and 1 day to go? It's the Murphy Show on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. At election 2024, Democrats rolling out former President Clinton today in Columbus, Georgia, to try to convince anyone that Vice President Kamala Harris is better for the economy.
We are about to finish the 4-year period that will produce the most new jobs of any 4-year period in the history of the United States.
But new polling shows consistently more people trust former President Trump with the economy than they do Kamala Harris. Metro Police sorting out the details of that deadly mass shooting Saturday after the TSU homecoming parade.
We would have never expected that this would have happened here with all of the law enforcement, all of the public safety people here, the fire department. We would have never have expected this to have taken place.
That's Metro Police Department spokesman Don Aaron. 24-year-old Von Clay Johnson was shot and killed. 9 others injured as 2 groups of people started shooting at each other just minutes after the parade wrapped up and the crowd was thinning out. Police think 2 of the shooters are in the hospital. Tennessee's 11th baby box to be blessed today in Murfreesboro. Baby boxes offer safe and anonymous ways for parents to surrender their baby. The blessing ceremony scheduled for 2 o'clock at the Fire and Rescue Station on Medical Center Parkway, according to Channel 4. This will mark the 277th safe haven baby box in the nation. Whooping cough on the rise. The CDC reporting cases of the bacterial respiratory infection now 5 times higher than a year ago, more than we've seen in 10 years, according to Dr. Darian Sutton.
It can often start as symptoms of a cold, low-grade fever, runny nose, a mild cough for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, and then that progresses into the second stage, and that's the most concerning. That includes these violent coughing attacks that often leave people gasping for air, which is where the name whooping cough comes from.
But children under age 1 may not get that telltale cough, and doctors say treatment often includes antibiotics. They say a vaccine prevents it. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
As the temperatures go down, the bugs and the mice and the rodents and the other pests that are a problem around your home, they want to get into your home. I mean, these bugs want what you want. They want your heat. They want your warmth. They want the comfort of your home, and they want your food, and they're little socialists. I mean, that's what they are. You need to prevent that with J.K. and Erica Brister and U.S. Pest. Now, if you're already a customer of U.S. Pest, congratulations. You've got the best pest service in Middle Tennessee and beyond, bar none. And I'm here to tell you about it. But if you are a friend of U.S. Pest already, did you know that you can refer a neighbor, a family member, or a friend and receive a $50 credit on your account? It's true. And you can receive, I should say, a free mosquito, tick, or flea treatment at your home. Now, this is the time of year where you need to fortify your home against those invasive pests that want to come in and enjoy the heat. Full-service pest control available, termite protection available, crawl space service available at the one and only U.S. Pest. They're proud Americans, and they are great patriots, and they are fine at what they do. Protect you from the bugs and the creepy crawlies. USPest.com or give them a call, 590-1260.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. no home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It is 1238 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Glad to have you with us. My name is Matt Murphy. It's episode 671 of our time together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And here's where you start that slow fade, Mason. That slow fade to get that music out of the way because I don't want it in my way. By the way, did you title episode 671 on the Super Talk TV side of things? Do you want to tell me what that title is? I normally ask Bell, and sometimes I forget.
No, it's all good.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, I was like, do you want to know?
I do want to know.
No. Dems are passing the blunts for votes. Will you take it?
How more? All right. Thank you. Inspired by Mason Fleming, I'm going to talk about this aspect of the desperation of the Democrats. And I mean, because, you know, once again, I started at 50,000 feet, right? And by the way, you can join in on the conversation either through the Super Text line. Super Talk text line is up and running, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You can also hit us up on the telephone lines, and, you're invited to do it either way. So you think of all of the things that the leftists in the United States of America have done to try to stop Donald Trump coming back at this in 2024. I mean, and it really started as soon as he became president of the United States. It's like they never saw it coming, and when it happened, everything in their power was geared toward destroying him, and they did it during his presidency. He never got any credit for the good that he did during his presidency. The political left constantly tried to destroy him. They impeached him twice on flimsy, nonsensical matters. And then they went about the lawfare portion of it, trying to make sure, you know, they hooked him with January 6th. They exclusively blamed him for January 6th, despite the fact that he had nothing to do with January 6th, except that the crowd gathered to hear him speak on the ellipse. He told them to protest peacefully, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I'm not here to till through that ground. I want to remind everyone everything that this guy's been through to get to this moment in time, including 2 assassination attempts, including being shot in the head. Being shot in the head. Do I need to remind you that if a Democrat candidate had been shot in the head, that's all that we'd still be talking about? And they got off it in a week. Because, Kamala's here. And as soon as it became obvious in the aftermath of the June 27th debate performance by Joe Biden that they had to do something, we understood that they were boxed in with this candidate. Guys, if you do a modicum of research on Kamala Harris online, you will recognize that she has never stood for anything. I would challenge, and I would do so in a way that I don't want to argue with you. I'm just sincerely curious. What does Kamala Harris stand for? If you're planning on voting for Kamala Harris, or if you voted for Kamala Harris, what do you believe this person stands for? I honestly cannot tell you a thing that I believe she stands for except for abortion until birth. She's never wavered on her belief that women should have the right to terminate a pregnancy until the moment of birth. But other than that, I mean, she's hard on crime as a prosecutor. Now she's soft on crime as a candidate for president in 2019. Now she doesn't know what she is. She's against American energy independence. Now she's for American energy independence. She's against a border wall. Now she's for a border wall. She's against fracking. Now she's for fracking. What does this person stand for? Irregardless, which is not a preferred word, irregardless of what you think about Donald Trump, he has moved the political needle in this manner. The American people are no longer willing to put up with disingenuous politicians on a ballot. The American people are smart enough, right, left, center, and they can choose to dismiss it if they want. They recognize, how do I put this? Bravo Sierra when they hear it. Y'all know what Bravo Sierra stands for? I assume you do. They recognize the bull squeeze when they hear it. And sadly, 40% of the United States of America has decided that they hate Donald Trump enough that they're going to allow it for the purpose of getting this person elected so as they're not Donald Trump. I don't know of anyone that's voting for Kamala Harris. I truly don't. I know a lot of people that are voting against the orange guy. I know a lot of people that are voting against Trump because they bought in to what the media has claimed that he is these 8 years. I mean, if the man was such a dictatorial tyrant, why did he leave office the first time around? You can't have it both ways. He can't be losing his mind, but at the same time, he was playing four-dimensional chess, and he decided he's a tyrant. He's going to keep in office, but he left office and gave it to Joe Biden knowing that he would make a triumphant return 4 years. I mean, your leftist fantasy narrative, your fear porn fantasy doesn't even make any sense in the real world. But I'll grant you that. But it's all about hating Trump. None of it is in support of Kamala Harris because what is there to support? What about Kamala Harris do you support? Her stand on, well, if you pick her stand on anything absent abortion, then you've got to tell me which one. Which is why I'm so interested in this Bret Baier interview that is set to go down on Wednesday, because if anything, I think Bret Baier will try to set the record straight. And the first thing that he should do is just go over these issues. Where do you stand on fracking? Where do you stand on energy policy? Where do you stand on border security? Where do you stand on a wall? You were against a wall, now you're for a wall. Where do you stand on taxpayer-funded transgender surgeries? Do you believe that men or boys should be allowed to play in female sports? Yes or no? Tell us where you are on these things. 3 weeks to go before a presidential election. You know where Donald Trump is, and you know he doesn't get swayed on these matters. Now, that might not be appealing to some, but it is authentic. And I believe, if anything, an authentic nature has led us to where we are in the polls. As I predicted to you, yes, I'm going to play a game of Murphy was right. I will not make Mason go and look for the clip, although it's up there on the wall somewhere. There's a Murphy was right. Don't worry about it, Mason. You got a lot of things going on. even before she officially became the nominee, I said, here's what's going down. She will get a spike of like 8 points. And you longtime listeners can confirm this. I'm not making this up. She'll get a spike of like 5 to 8. That'll flatline during the convention because that was the convention spike. You'll get a stream of, well, at least she's not Joe Biden voters. At least I can go to the polls and pull a trigger for somebody that I think has her mental faculties. And after that, after the convention, I believed, and I said it then, that 8 points will slowly fall off until Election Day, because the more people are exposed to the real Kamala Harris, the more you recognize there's no there. She's like Joe without the dementia. She's just a figurehead. She says what she thinks she can get away with, regardless of whatever group she happens to be in front of. And you know what? That might still work in a U.S. Senate campaign. That might work in a congressional campaign. That might work in a mayor's race or for city commissioner or whatever. It does not work in a presidential contest where all eyes, the white hot spotlight on you, baby, on you. So this idea of you go into this group or that group and you speak with that accent or this accent, it's inauthentic. And you can get away with that maybe 20 years ago if you're Bill Clinton, or 30 years ago if you can get away with that in a U.S. Senate race. You cannot get away with inauthenticity any longer in a presidential contest. It's the primary reason why voters who have heartburn about Donald Trump are gravitating away from Kamala Harris and either deciding not to vote or voting Trump. Because at least we know what we have in a Donald Trump presidency. You have a guy that believes in business, that believes in allowing business to do its business. I mean, one of my favorite presidents, if not my favorite president, said it best. The business of America is business. Calvin Coolidge. And Donald Trump reflects that with regard to our economy. Getting our prices at the pump down. Getting our prices have gone down, thankfully, a little bit at the pump as a result of a lack of activity economically elsewhere. When you see production lines go down, you see travel go down, you see the cost of gasoline go down because the demand goes down. Obviously, you go into the grocery store, and Democrats can't lie their way out of a grocery store. Spike on the announcement, no push beyond the DNC, and a slow decline since then because the American people are smarter than the Democrats give them credit for. But this does not mean that we cannot rest on our laurels and run through the finish, and run through the finish they were doing over the weekend. So I got audio from J.D. Vance with Martha Raddatz over the weekend. He absolutely destroys her. We have audio from Kamala Harris over the weekend explaining that she has a new plan for black voters. Apparently, they are desperate enough that they trotted out Barack Obama to try to appeal to black men. And Barack Obama said the quiet part out loud. You don't seem to want to vote for a woman. What's up with that? My brother? He's down for the struggle, and he's talking to you black voters, you black male voters, about why you're not voting for Kamala Harris. Do I have any black male voters in the audience that are willing to tell me why or why not they are voting for Kamala Harris? Does it have anything to do with her being a woman? Because that's what Barack Obama said. That's what Barack Obama said. He said you apparently don't want to vote for her because she's a she. So they're desperate enough that they're accusing a major voting bloc in their political dynamic. They're trying to tell you that you're not voting for Kamala just because she's a chick. And black males are apparently misogynistic now. In the meantime, Tim Walz was hunting over the week. Hunting. Did you see Tim hunt? I'm using air quotes every time I say hunting. He was hunting wascally wabbits or pheasants.
He was hunting tampons.
He couldn't load the damn shotgun. By the way,
he's putting tampon capsules in.
I don't know. If he's stuffing, I don't know what he's stuffing it with. He couldn't load the thing, or he couldn't. He was either loading or unloading, one way or the other. Not a lot of trigger discipline, and not a lot of an ability to load. It's an automatic shotgun. I mean, it's not. All you have to do is slide it up. I mean,
yeah.
Have you ever handled a shotgun before, Tim? I know you claim that one's yours. By the way, it's a nice shotgun.
It is a nice shotgun.
Like a $2,300 shotgun.
Everybody stood about 10 feet behind me.
Waiting for the misfire.
And I don't know if it bothered anybody else, but that reporter that asked him, and I've got the audio, I'll play it for you if you want it. The reporter that asked him, what kind of gun is that, Governor? And he was like, oh, it's an A140 Beretta or whatever he said it was. It bothered me because if I was holding a shotgun and somebody asked me what kind of shotgun I was holding, the first thing I would tell them is what gauge it was.
Oh, 100%.
You're right.
100%.
So it's a 12 gauge. It's a 12 gauge Remington. It's a 12 gauge Mossberg. It's a 20 gauge.
Nobody's getting into like the nitty gritty specifics.
Like it's a A411 Beretta. It's almost as if he knew somebody was going to ask him that and he wanted to sound knowledgeable about the shotgun. That's almost. And by the way, that we call that a recoil. Tim, I don't know what you called it, but that's recoil.
Makes me think of those videos where people shoot the shotgun under their arms and just flies out from behind them.
and apparently that recoil is like $1,000 upgrade on that Beretta.
Yeah. Never be able to afford that in my lifetime.
Man, it reminded me. I'll tell you a story in a minute.
Say, that's my boomstick, baby.
Look, kid, reminded me, my grandpa bought me a 12-gauge Mossberg pump when I was 12 years old. He said, it's time you had your own gun. That thing, I was a 13-year-old in the dove blind. That thing was destroying my shoulder. Did I get a $1,200 recoil on my gun? No. You know what my grandpa told me? I'll toughen you up.
50, rub some dirt on it.
Rub some dirt on it, kid. You missed 3 birds, by the way. You owe me money.
Yeah.
It's 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I recently went down and spent a little time at Savory Spice in Franklin. You can see the video running on occasion on Super Talk TV where I invite you inside of Savory Spice. You can't smell the smells, but you can see the many delicious spices they have available. You'll meet Holly, who is the owner of Savory Spice, along with her husband, David. They're great people, and they run a great store. And many different walks of life come in, from the experienced chef to somebody that's never been inside of a kitchen, never really worked in a kitchen. If you've never cooked in your life and you're looking to get started, they have a way for you to do that with the Spice and Easy line. Plus, if you're just trying to up your spice game, the way to do it is to go to Savory Spice. It's as simple as that. Don't go to these places that have had spices on the shelves for years and years and years. Let's get with Savory Spice. They have fresh spices and the most delicious flavors. Plus, they've got pumpkin pie spice for the season. Tailgating options for football. Savory Spice, 2 locations, one in Nashville, L&L Market, Charlotte Pike, the other in Franklin, just off the square. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about Spice and Easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice. Hey, friends, with Election Day coming up, we don't have to wait until November to start taking our country back. We can get it back right now with Coin, the conservatives' credit card. I'm proud to be talking about them. Instead of funneling money into the left like other cards, Coin advances conservative values and conservative charity. Earn cash back while fighting back. Apply now at coin.com. You spell coin, COIGN.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Federal Emergency Management Agency crews in North Carolina reportedly claim they were forced to relocate due to a reported armed threat against workers. This was first reported by the Washington Post. The claim is that National Guard troops reportedly encountered armed militia in North Carolina, saying they were, quote, hunting FEMA. In response, FEMA said its disaster assistance teams will be stationed at fixed locations instead of going door to door, which has been the agency's common practice in the past. CBS News says it has confirmed that one person was arrested in connection to the threat. Election 2024. Both presidential candidates are in must-win Pennsylvania today, where Vice President Harris unveils what her campaign says is new economic proposals. Here's Karen Travis.
Vice President Harris today is rolling out a new plan aimed at helping black men get ahead economically, an effort to shore up that demographic as polls show softening support. Her plan includes forgivable business loans for black entrepreneurs, an effort to invest in black male teachers, support for a regulatory framework for cryptocurrency, and creating business opportunities in the marijuana industry as Harris pushes to legalize recreational marijuana nationwide.
Latest ABC News Ipsos poll shows voters trust Trump more than Harris to handle the economy. And among those who say the economy is getting worse, and most do, 3/4 of them say they prefer Trump. Here in Nashville, tomorrow, Metro Police will ask Metro Council to approve a plan they say will help solve crimes faster. They want to enter into a contract with a local law enforcement technology company. Metro Police say it would allow them to receive video surveillance content from cameras outside of businesses in Nashville. Mayor Freddie O'Connell seems open to it.
FUSIS is fundamentally a way for businesses that already have cameras for security purposes to share footage from those cameras efficiently with local police. We expect that program to be successful, and we're looking forward to the council discussion.
Whooping cough is on the rise. The CDC reporting cases now 5 times higher than a year ago, more than in the last 10 years. The bacterial respiratory infection can progress from cold symptoms to violent coughing attacks, leaving people gasping for air. But it's preventable, as we hear from ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton.
This is about 5 vaccines between the ages of 2 months, kindergarten, and once again around 5th or 6th grade. And then important to remember for adults, we should get updated every 10 years. And then most important for pregnant women, they encourage that you get this vaccine at the end of your pregnancy during the 3rd trimester. And the goal of this is to help protect the most vulnerable, the infants.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, kids. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 5 minutes after 1 o'clock. Glad you have decided to join us. Don't forget to join us on our big election night watch party. We've been discussing, and I often forget to remind you to put it on your calendars. November 5th, we'll be in Wilson County at the big old Ag Center at the Wilson County Fairgrounds. It's known in common parlance as the Tennessee Room because there's a huge map of the state of Tennessee with all of the counties represented. So you can come and stake out your county of your choosing early if you so desire. Brian Wilson will be out there broadcasting starting at 3. As we like to do, the entire gang will start joining in a little bit later on in the evening, and then we'll watch the election night results together. It should be a wonderful time. It is a great gathering. It is sponsored by my friends at U.S. Pest. I love J.K. and Erica and how much they believe in the United States of America, and they're fine sponsors of this event. There'll be other sponsors that we'll be telling you about over the next 3 weeks, but we want you to be there. Wilson County Fairgrounds. If it's a drive for you, I promise you it will be worth it because we want to fill this joint. We have seats for about 1,000 people, and we want to put 1,000 people in the Tennessee Ag Center.
Be so cool to see everybody show up for
How about
night.
that? If you did not get a chance to see my Trumpy Trump shoes, they're going to make a new appearance.
I missed them
on election night. Mason, will you be here?
Rumor has it.
Yeah,
I will be there.
Really?
I didn't go to the last one. I didn't go for any of the debates because I had prior commitments that came up that I needed to attend.
That's Mason Fleming. Hold on, that's Mason Fleming back in the control area, back in the newsroom. It is the one and only, the man with the plan and all the news that's fit to hear about. It's Ken Weaver, everybody.
Yes, sir.
What a walk-up song.
I like this. There you go, Weaver. Dan Mandis never gave you one of those, did he?
He never did. I never got a walk-up song with Dan Mandis.
Very well. Moving on.
See, we appreciate you here,
Ken. You will be able to. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is. I've not heard. I mean, you're the news director of this media operation, so you might be further obligated. I mean, what is your plan on election
Brother
night?
Murphy, I am going to be right here in the news closet.
That's what I thought.
I am going to be disseminating information out to the masses. We're going to be mass communicating.
We're not one at a time in here.
No, sir. No,
mass
sir.
communicating. Should be a fine night. Should be a fun night. I hope if everything goes well, the night will wrap at about 10 o'clock.
It's going to be cold at 10 o'clock, folks.
Oh, just a nice little...
Oh, man, oh, man. I remember back in 2016.
That's good, man.
I know. Wasn't that good? 10 o'clock? And so remember the days when you actually knew who was going to be your next president the same night?
Yeah.
Remember that? That was fun. That was fun. That was back when Democrats were winning. So, I remember in 2016, I was in Birmingham. We were doing election night coverage. And, everything leading up to 2016 election night was Trump was going to lose. And we thought that Florida, about 7:45, we were looking at Florida, and we thought Florida was about to go for Hillary Clinton. And then new boxes came in on Florida, and about 15 minutes after, I was convinced that Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president of the United States because I thought Florida was going blue.
Yeah.
And if Florida went blue, then it was just going to be an absolute cascade.
Game over.
And about 8:10, my good buddy Leland Whaley, who's the afternoon host on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham, said, "Dude, Florida is red, and Florida is going to stay there." And he was doing some box checking. He was showing where the exterior boxes were, and all that.
Yeah.
And when we realized Florida was red, then it was just a wave of red, 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 red. Wow. And I know Pennsylvania was late in the night, but man, it was such a great feeling watching that happen in real time. And I think it was before 10 o'clock Eastern time, maybe 10 o'clock Central time, Ken, that was called. I could be remembering that wrong, but I think it was fairly early that we realized Trump was going to be the next president of the United States.
Well, I remember that was in my waking up at stupid o'clock days. And when I woke up at high stupid o'clock, it said President-elect Donald Trump. And I rose straight up out of bed. And I just went, wow.
Eagles flying over, an American flag drapes through.
Well, here's my thing, and I've been saying this for a while now. And look, I'm not some sort of Nostradamus on this point. But I've been making the point that it really boils down to, I've said 5. I know that some want to include a couple of additional states, but I've always said that it's all about Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. And you want to throw Nevada in there, that's fine. You want to throw North Carolina in, that's fine. If you want to include, but really, I'm going the other way on it. I believe it's really all about one state, and that state is Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
It just, if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, there is virtually no way that Kamala Harris is going to be your next president of the United States of America. Now,
that's where she's rolling out marijuana today. No pun intended.
And you get a doobie, and she's like Oprah. Remember those Oprah shows where she's giving out crap? Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Ken, because that's the next place I'm going. Democrats are getting desperate, and you better get ready for all of the barrels. I don't know how many barrels Tim Walz had on that shotgun he was sporting over the weekend, but they're giving us all of the barrels, baby, and you better be ready for it. They're bringing out Bill Clinton. They're mad at Joe Biden. Did you hear this? Internally, they're mad at Joe because they say Joe has not been supportive enough of Kamala Harris's campaign. You mean the woman that engaged in a political coup in order to push Joe Biden aside to ascend to his position as the candidate? You mean that Joe Biden? Oh, and Joe Biden's not happy enough for you. Oh, I see. I see how that goes. So they're mad at Joe Biden for not doing enough. They pull out Barack Obama over the last couple of days. Expect to see a lot of him over the last 3 weeks because they can't get black males to vote for this woman. And now Bill Clinton's out and about. I heard you playing some of that delicious Clinton. Man, he sounds old.
Yeah, he's got a gravelly voice.
I did not have. I used to. If I could hit on my Bill Clinton, I could do it. But it's hit or miss, Ken. It's hit or miss.
Well, he says he's going to inhale if things work out right after
Listen,
November 5th.
If y'all vote for Kamala, I'll drink the bong water. I swear. I'll do what you need me to do.
That'll clean him out.
I'll bust out the cigars, guys. I mean, yeah, anybody and everybody. All these old people are telling young people that you're not down for the struggle. You're not hip if you don't vote.
Well, it makes me think of 2016 when Hillary Clinton was like, you should Pokemon go to the polls when that big app came out, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's why we got
just relating to kids.
We got the young buck Chris Hand. I mean, what a great job he's been doing the last year and so many months that he's been here. Hand can get away with red pill and blue pill and all that kind of stuff. I don't do all of that because I just don't feel hip. I just feel like it's phony baloney.
Yeah, it'd be like me getting a tattoo. It's
you know
not going to work, man.
It's just right across the lower back.
With Chris, you're right, man. I mean, it just rolls.
It just rolls off,
tongue,
and that's because he's from that generation,
right?
But when these old Democrats roll out this hip lingo, I love it.
Well, they're going to give you some red medicine. I mean, they're going to give you a red pill.
That's right. They're going to red pill you. Red pill, blue pill you.
Yep.
What the hell that means?
You don't know? Do you not know what that's from?
That is from the Matrix. Yes, I clearly
make it short.
I clearly know what it's from. Matrix, fine feature film. It's one of my all-time.
Hey now,
Mason, one of my all-time top 10 favorite moments in cinema is when Neo says no to the bullets.
Yeah,
it's a great moment.
So cool
in film where he figures it out and he goes no, and they just stop.
Just stop. One of my favorites is the bullet dodge when he's bent over and then slow-mo circling around him. It's good, man.
That's badass.
It's cool.
That's what that is.
It's cool.
But I'm still not using the parlance. Now, do you know where where that red pill, blue pill moment came from?
I do not.
No.
I do.
Lay it on me.
That's Lewis Carroll. That's Alice in Wonderland, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Where Alice had to choose between the things to eat, and then she ate the thing that made her bigger or whatever through the looking glass. I mean,
that's right.
She kind of red pill, blue pilled herself there too.
Wow.
So, yeah, there you go. So it all circles back to Alice in Wonderland, guys. Come on.
Yeah, you had to be high to watch that movie. That's for sure.
Not the.
Had to be to make
believe it or not, Mason, there was a book. I don't know if you know.
I know it was a book, but I'm talking about the movie too.
You talking about the Johnny Depp? Was it Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter?
I mean, there was that one. That one was a trip.
That
for
was
sure.
trippy, right?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Are you talking about the cartoon?
I was talking about the cartoon.
Oh, well, you don't have.
You don't have to be.
I'm gonna say something here that from my experience in college, you don't have to be high to enjoy Alice in Wonderland.
No,
you don't have to.
But it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I was like, it definitely helps.
I mean, if it starts scaring you, you might want to consider it, and then you'll just kind of go along with it.
Might be the wrong kind of high you're doing,
a cat floating around with no body, just a head. It freak you out, boy.
His eyes are all over the place.
Answering questions with questions.
What do you think you are, a Democrat politician? Anyway, point being that Kamala Harris wants all of you fellas to know that she's laying out a plan for you, specifically if you are a black male. Now, this is from her campaign. It sounds like, honestly, this is from the Associated Press. This is a story. I'm going to read it to you verbatim. It sounds like it's from the Babylon Bee. Because I don't know how you can be more stereotypical and condescending to black males than this. Vice President Kamala. So on the heels of Barack Obama, essentially saying that black males need to get with the program, that they need to get down for the struggle, that they need to understand that they need to vote for the female, right? And he did this over the weekend. And you can expect much more of this, where Barack Obama, let's just listen to one.
Deadliest hurricanes in American history.
Here's an ad featuring Barack Obama.
Started making up stories.
Almost immediately began lying.
So they're running an advertisement.
Seriously hindering rescue and recovery operations.
The idea of intentionally trying to deceive people in their most desperate and vulnerable moments.
So they're running a political advertisement featuring Barack Obama in the speech that he made last week, suggesting that somehow it's Donald Trump's fault that FEMA did not respond appropriately to Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. Although everything seems to be going fairly well, if not very well, in Florida as a result of the master class of disaster preparation put on by Ron DeSantis as governor of the state of Florida. Notice that Georgia's doing pretty well with Brian Kemp as governor, too. Notice that, relatively speaking, Tennessee is doing pretty well with Governor Bill Lee in control. The only state that seems to continue to be a disaster from an organizational standpoint is North Carolina. And their governor is a Democrat. I mean, do with that what you will. So they're already rolling out their desperation, suggesting that Donald Trump is responsible for the poor response by FEMA. I mentioned that I was talking to a member of the United States military over the weekend. We were playing golf together. And we were talking about the structure that FEMA represents. And I've said to you for a long time, FEMA's just a checkbook. They're an organizational plan and a checkbook. They're not people. They're not. The human beings are already on the ground. The human beings are already doing the hard work. FEMA just swoops in, has an open checkbook, and ultimately takes credit for things. Be that as it may, they're bringing Barack Obama out because they understand that Kamala Harris has not lied her way into the vote amongst black males, and they absolutely have to have it. Absolutely. Barack Obama enjoyed 81% approval amongst black males. 81%. Well, no, I'm sorry. That was his margin. So Barack Obama had an 81% margin gap. In other words, he had like a 90% or 91%, and John McCain had 9%. And that held steady when he took on, what's his name? Mitt Romney in the 2012 election cycle. Black males continued to support Democrats by a margin of over 50% for Hillary Clinton. I think it was 60%. That's the margin between Donald Trump's numbers and Hillary's numbers. And then it was 51%. So they were plus 51 during the Joe Biden era. That is down to 41. So they have shaved that margin by 40 points since Barack Obama in 2012. In 12 years. Why? Because the Democrats talk a good game and they do nothing. They don't do anything to support you. They don't do anything to support your ability to have a business and to create a family and to live your American dream. And more Americans, regardless of the color of their skin, recognize that. They recognize that all of this race baiting is nonsense, and it hurts us as a country and as a people. But Vice President Kamala Harris has a plan. She wants to, reading from the Associated Press now, give black men more economic opportunities and other chances to thrive as she works to energize a key voting bloc that has Democrats concerned about a lack of enthusiasm. Barack Obama said that black males are not voting for Kamala Harris because she's female. Is that true? I know I have black men listening to this show. Is that true, men? 615-737-9986. Regardless of whether you're voting for her or not, are you making that decision based on her sex? Harris rolling out a plan, as Ken Weaver noted, in Pennsylvania. I don't know if she's specifically in Philadelphia. In Pennsylvania today, provided forgivable business loans for black entrepreneurs, which seems racist, but more on that in a moment. Creating more apprenticeships and studying sickle cell and other diseases that disproportionately affect African American men. She's already said that she supports legalizing marijuana, but her plan calls for working to ensure that black men have opportunities to participate in the national cannabis industry. She's also calling for better regulation of the cyber and cryptocurrency market to protect black men and others who invest in digital assets. What? So that's a program specifically designed to black men. Cryptocurrency. What? She's calling it her opportunity agenda for black men. And it is designed to invigorate African American males at a moment where there are fears some may sit out the election rather than vote for Harris or her opponent, Republican candidate Donald Trump. So if this were a headline on Babylon Bee, I would believe you. Democrats are so desperate that they have trotted out Barack Obama and a new plan like this to accuse men of being misogynist for not supporting their crappy candidate. Secondarily, don't all black people love weed? That's not me saying, that's not Matt Murphy saying that, that's Kamala Harris saying that. What do you say? We'll get to your calls momentarily, 22 after the hour. You know, obviously, many of you listening to me, you want a tough on crime approach. The people that do the time, or rather do the crime, need to do the time. And that's the right approach to take. There ought to be punishments for actions against the rule of law and against society in general. However, I'm here to tell you that 90% of the men that go into prisons will get out of prison at some point or another. What type of men do you want? Well, the government is horrible at attempting to reduce recidivism by rehabilitation. The government just doesn't do a good job of it. You know who does? Men of valor. Because there is a foundational approach to what they do, and that foundation rests on the power of God and the purpose of man. And they reinvigorate souls inside prison systems with this foundational understanding and these foundational teachings. Now, Men of Valor doesn't save everybody, but they turn a 50% return rate into one that is 10%. That is an incredible statistic, folks. They're graduates. Less than 10% of Men of Valor graduates return to a life of crime and to prison. That is great results. I support those results, and I hope you do as well. Give to Men of Valor by going to movministry.com. You can give in the form of donations. You can also give in the form of your time. They need job partners, Bible study teachers, and mentors. movministry.com. Will you go today? movministry.com. Men, if you're feeling lethargic, run down, or no energy, I have a solution for you, or at least I have a telephone number to those that do. It is Tennessee Men's Clinic. Now, guys, I understand when you think of Tennessee Men's Clinic, you automatically think of ED because it is a lot of what they do. But really, I think of them as an energy provider, right? If you've lost energy, that could be due to a loss of T levels in your system. Over time, that happens with men. And if that's happening, it can manifest itself in any number of ways, to include a loss of interest, activity, or intimacy in the bedroom. And if that's the case, I understand that's frustrating, and you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to deal with it, and you whistle past that graveyard. Don't do this any longer. Get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Allow them to provide a solution for you that will get you back to intimacy again, get you back to life again. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or call today at 615-208-9090, 208-9090 for Tennessee Men's Clinic.
FEMA says it is temporarily halting some storm recovery operations in North Carolina amid threats of violence. We'll tell you about it at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Ken Weaver. 2565 says, put Condoleezza Rice on the top of the ticket and watch all the white male misogynists vote for a top-quality candidate. You got that right. Obama can go pound sand. I'd vote for Condoleezza Rice in a heartbeat. Let me tell you. I mean, there's many great. Oh, what's her name up in Lieutenant Governor of Virginia? Winsome Sears. I think that's right. Winsome Sears. She's tip top. There are plenty of great African-American conservative/libertarians out there that I absolutely love. This ain't about color anymore, folks, except unless you're a Democrat, and they want to remind you that if you're black. I mean, didn't Joe Biden say it a couple of years ago? You know, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. How dare you? How insulting. Kevin is next up in Nashville. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Yeah, this one black man is not voting for her, and it's not because she's a woman, which is strange coming from a party that can't tell you what a woman is.
That's true.
But the thing is, the policy. If you look at the policy, and then the fact that she can't even articulate any of the things she claims to stand for, and then the things that she says, well, over here I vote, I'm absolutely this way, but over here now I'm this way. You know, there's all this wishy-washiness between there, and she panders to try to get votes. That it ain't going to work. People are looking at their pocketbooks, and they're looking at what they're paying in the grocery store, the gas pump. You can't lie to people there. You can't lie to people at their 401ks and what their IRAs look like. You cannot push that lie to them. You can say it, but you can't sell it when it comes to reality, because that's the reality with people, and they're having a hard time with that. And then I'm reminded by a quote by Thomas Sowell, what he said. He said, when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear.
Amen, brother.
And
amen.
This is where she is.
Well, it's the, listen, if any, I don't like to break this down, and thank you, Kevin, so much for the call. I don't like to break this down in this way, but I'll say this. If there is a portion of the population that understands Bravo Sierra when they hear it, it's the black population. And sadly, many of them have been caught on that political Democrat plantation for a long time. They are breaking those shackles in real time because the Democrats do not have the ability to use the mainstream media to lie their way to elections anymore. Thank you, Kevin, for the call. 31 after the hour.
It's 1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. FEMA is temporarily halting some storm recovery operations in North Carolina amid threats of violence. The organization, the United Cajun Navy, reporting its volunteers witnessed a resident threatening FEMA personnel stationed at one of their distribution centers in the western part of the state. This is Cajun Navy Vice President and National Spokesman Brian Trasher.
It's just not acceptable. We're not going to allow it in any of our stations, and we hope that everybody realizes that FEMA is there to help them, regardless of what you think of the job they're doing. You need to try to let them do their job and try to get through this recovery.
Meanwhile, in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis says more than $3.8 million electricity customers have their power restored since Hurricane Milton made landfall earlier this month.
About 97% of the state is electrified and operational. There's about 369,000 that are still outstanding.
DeSantis says more free gasoline is available at 12 different locations, and he announced $9.5 million to help repair ports. Elsewhere in Florida today, NASA launched a spacecraft to explore one of Jupiter's moons.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff. Liftoff of Falcon Heavy with Europa Clipper.
Yeah, Europa, the spacecraft, that's the moon, one of Jupiter's moons that this spacecraft is supposed to reach in 5 years. The belief is that it can support human life. And here in Nashville, no official plans have been publicly announced, but Jelly Roll says he's going to open a bar on Lower Broad. He's going to call it Jelly Roll's Goodnight Nashville. Channel 4 says he broke the news to Joe Rogan during his podcast on Saturday. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Dr. Gill Center was created over 30 years ago. The specific purpose to help alleviate your pain in whatever way you need it in order to avoid surgery, to avoid pills, to avoid needles, and to avoid downtime. That's what it's all about, and to be able to live a pain-free life. You know, I was in pain when I first came to Nashville. I had lower back pain that would not go away. I had an upper neck issue that was just, it was debilitating. I couldn't play golf. I couldn't, get outside and do the things that I enjoy to do out of doors. Then I met Dr. Gill and his team. Dr. Wendy gave me my initial examination, including x-rays. And you can be the next to me in as much as I got a treatment that same day. My neck doesn't hurt anymore. My back doesn't hurt anymore. I'm back to playing golf. I'm back to life again. Don't have to pop pills to do it. That's what it's all about. So wherever you hurt, let's schedule this first appointment, whether it's your back, your neck, your knee, your hip, your elbow, wherever it is. It can all be treated with no needles and no downtime. 615-882-4838, 882-4838, the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Asking for a response over the latest desperation move. The Democrats feel like they're not resonating with black males quite enough, and so they're appealing to black males, saying, "Hey, we'll give you a pot store, or something." I mean, I'm not trying to be funny here. What else could we make of this plan? Harris's plan includes providing forgivable business loans specifically for black entrepreneurs, which I think is illegal. Creating more apprenticeships and studying sickle cell. I mean, it's like they took every trope and stereotype available and created a policy as a result of it. Plus, I mean, don't forget the cannabis. They want to ensure that black males have opportunities to participate in the national cannabis industry. And then for some reason they throw in cryptocurrency to protect black men because black men are more susceptible to cyber scams? What? The vice president unveiled the plan ahead of a Monday visit to Erie, Pennsylvania, where she will visit a black-owned business and hold a campaign rally. Her push comes after former President Barack Obama said last week that some black men, quote, aren't feeling this idea of having a woman as president. What's up with that? Huh? Come on, guys. Real men. Vote Kamala. Did you see that ad that they did? It was so bad. I have it in the audio portion at some point. It's such a bad, gross online ad where it's like real men vote for Kamala. And it's all of these actors. I mean, they're all actors. I mean, and I'm not making that up. These are actors playing real men. Have you seen this ad? Did y'all play it this morning?
Yeah, we talked about it this morning. It's
so
just funny that nobody would say this for real. You have to pay them to make them pay.
Like, you couldn't find 5 or 6 dudes that were willing to sit there and talk about it. You had to pay the actors to do it.
I don't know. I don't think they want their faces attached to that forever.
Well, and then if you're going to pay, I mean, if I'm going to have to pay for this, I want something for what I pay for. And
something a little more
dude
convincing.
sitting on the back of the pickup truck all prissy, come on, man. Wait, we are paying you to act like a real man, and you're sitting like a pretty princess. You can't. Do you know what men do in America? I mean, and you're sitting there with your turn your spine. I mean, that's what they told him. I guarantee you because I've been a part of these photo shoots. I was a theater guy. I saw all of this crap.
Yeah.
Where no, you got to turn your spine. No, don't turn your legs. Turn your spine. No, turn your spine. Oh, that's
gotta
perfect.
Separate.
Hold it. No, sit up straight. Spine straight. Hold it. Now deliver the line. I'm for Kamala, and I love her.
Chris and I said that it looks like a middle schooler on picture day trying to get in an uncomfortable position.
No. Spine straight. Back straight.
Now turn to the left just a little bit.
Awful. All right, so ask and ye shall receive. So I wanted to know from the black listening population of this audience where you are on this. And look, wherever you are is where you are. I'm not casting aspersions. I just don't believe that black men are going to fall for any of this. It is Lamont's turn in Nashville. Hello, Lamont.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I hope you are.
I am a big-time listener. I'm actually on the way to work right now, but I was calling in to say the same thing. I didn't want to piggyback off what Kevin said, but nobody's voting for her, not because she's a female, it's because her policies are weird. She's really cringy. Nobody knows what she's talking about. She freezes on camera. A lot of my friends that's from California that actually works in law enforcement as well, we all just kind of sit back. It's like, I don't know, she's just not pro. I don't know, like, hear me out. I'm all about, equal everybody. Like, I don't care what color you are, right? But she's not pro-black until it's time to be, I need the black vote. She doesn't really care about us. So we all realize that it's weird, tired of the pandering, all these weird rappers going to her rallies and stuff. It's just weird. Like, the young guys I work with already tell me that she's super cringy. So it ain't because she's a female. It's because overall policies don't work and she's super cringy, is what I was told.
I felt like, and Lamont, tell me if you were here or not, but in 2008, I didn't vote for Barack Obama in 2008, but I got why he won in the way that he did, because he seemed real and he did not play down to people of his own color for their vote. It just felt that way to me. With her, it just feels all phony.
It is. I was a victim. I voted for Obama in 2008, but I didn't do the same thing on the next election run, but I feel for the same thing. He had a different appeal about him.
Right.
And you know what I mean? He wasn't reading off a script. He was just, I guess, saying what he felt, I don't know, saying what he felt, I guess. But this just feels scripted. It doesn't feel real. Nobody I know is voting for him. A lot of my friends are black. Obviously, I'm black. I mean, I have a lot of friends. We don't really care what race you are. It just doesn't make any sense for the American people right now.
Love it, Lamont. Thank you for the call, and have fun at work, buddy.
I'm going to try.
All right, man. All right, take care. Call me back anytime. I love it. I absolutely love it. No, that's a good call. No, and he's right. I have said that Kamala Harris, and maybe I've said it a little inartfully, I've said Kamala Harris comes off to me as a stupid version of Barack Obama, where she's trying to act like she's down for the struggle. But Barack Obama, if anything, I don't know if he was authentic or not, but if he was not, he was really good at what he did. He was smooth. He was, I mean, as cool as the other side of the pillow, as they say, right? I mean, he was just, and you ask him a question and he would answer. Now, Barack Obama had some word salads too, but his word salads had some stuff in there with him. You know, he said something. It's like she's trying to do, somebody said, hey, you need to be more like Barack. And she's trying to do that, and she can't do it because she doesn't have a command of any of these issues. Now, Barack Obama's appeal was that he seemed natural, and he seemed very, very smart. And from an academic standpoint, the things that he said had great appeal to liberals, because he had a lot of book knowledge about how things ought to go. He had no street knowledge, none. But he was historic in nature, and he was good on the stump. And he seemed at least like you felt like the answers that he was giving were his own. This lady, I mean, you heard Lamont there. You heard Kevin. They're not falling for this garbage. And it goes back to authenticity. If you disagree with a candidate, but you feel like they're their own person, I think you can stomach that. But if you feel like a candidate is phony, is fake, is not themselves, is not authentic, that's not going to fly in a presidential election in 2024. Maybe in 1994, but not 2024. Earl is next in Nashville. Hello, Earl. Glad you called.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm probably not the target call for the day because, I've been Trump since day one. But, the people I talk to, my friends, I got a lot of people, we debate politics all the time. And, you got a certain group, I call them the true believers. They're going to vote Democrat. If you put a hamster with a D on it, they're going to vote for it. They just don't care. And then you have others who are open-minded, who look at the actual issues and don't care. But, I was really offended, and I'm offended every time somebody tells me I'm not black if I don't vote for a Democrat or who they want me to vote for. I don't know who the hell Obama thinks he is. He doesn't carry the same sway now as he did in 2016, and I never voted for him because I saw right through him. I didn't agree with his policies, And Kamala, she's not authentic at all. You asked, you don't know what you said. You didn't know what authentic was, or was Obama? Obama's not authentic. Obama didn't grow up in the playgrounds of America. He didn't grow up really in the struggle. I mean, he was flying around the world, Indonesia, Hawaii. I never got on a plane until I went to college football games. So, I that's not the average black life. Growing up in the hood, that I know. And as for Kamala, she's just like him. Her mom is Indian. She's from Canada. Her dad's from Jamaica or Bahamas or somewhere. She didn't grow up with the authentic black experience in America, and you can see it every time she gets in front of black people. She looks stupid because she's going overboard trying to convince everybody how black she is.
Yeah, she did a rally. I think it was in Detroit. She's going to talk to Charlemagne the God this week, and I'm very interested in that.
And Charlemagne, he's nobody.
I get it, but he's got a lot of listeners. He's got a lot of followers.
It's an entertainment program.
I get it.
And
he
made headlines when Biden told him he wasn't black. And I don't know why, but ever since then, everybody runs back to Charlemagne like he's he's Nietzsche or some with great knowledge of the black community. And he's not. He's a Democrat. And he's looking for a reason to vote for Kamala, but he's straining because he can't see it. But he doesn't have his thumb on the pulse of America.
The point that I would make, Earl, is if you can't convince Charlemagne, who is predisposed to support you, and he's been expressing doubts for the last month. So if you can't pull him in, you're lost. And I agree with you 100%. I don't pretend that Barack Obama was authentic. What I would say is that he was damn good at faking it.
Yeah. And Barack, he loves basketball, every NCAA tournament. Oh, what's Barack's bracket look like? I can promise you he never filled out a bracket himself. And if you ever seen him on the basketball court, you know he didn't grow up in the hood in America. I promise you he didn't. I promise you he didn't.
Earl, thanks, man. Call me back. I love it. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
All right, take care. That's good. No, this is the here's the inflection point that we're talking about right here.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Then you ain't black.
If you got a problem figuring out if you're for me or for Trump, then you ain't black. Earl, you ain't black. That was Joe Biden back when Joe Biden could put a sentence together. Joe Biden is, Joe Biden can't put a sentence together now. I think I have time for one more before we have to take a quick timeout. Brian is in Nashville talking about the appeal to the black male population. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, good. Man, I'm dying laughing. Earl told it like it was. Don't you like guys like that who tell it like it is?
Man, I love that.
You can tell he knows what he's talking about because he's laughing at them trying to use him. The best I've ever seen, though, is if you'll up is Obama. He looks like an actor for the Saturday Night Live skit that tries to be Obama. He is so funny. I die laughing every time I watch him trying to be Obama when you're talking about how she tries to be.
Wait.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries. I got you. Okay, I lost you for a second there.
Yep.
No, you're right. You're right. And frankly, there is a big debate going on inside. And thanks, Brian, for the call. I didn't hang up on Brian. Brian hung up on me. That doesn't happen very often. So there's a debate in political circles inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., as to what the real Democrat future looks like and whether or not Democrats are actually supporting Kamala Harris. There are some that suggest that there's a theory, I wouldn't call it a conspiracy theory, there's a political theory rolling around that they knew Joe was toast. They wanted to get her out of the way so that she wouldn't run in 2028 and reset in 2028, knowing that it would be a level playing field. No Donald Trump, no Joe Biden, obviously. And they didn't want Kamala Harris hanging over their party as the obvious choice in 2028. That's the theory rolling out there. And Hakeem Jeffries would be one of the greatest beneficiaries if that theory is accurate, in as much as he's a younger generation Democrat, a POC. I didn't say POS, I said POC. It's an interesting theory. I believe the Democrats are in it to win it, but I can understand the theory that they threw Kamala under the bus this election cycle just to get her out of the way so they could do a grand reset over the next 4 years. 51 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7. When we return, J.D. Vance was on some of the talking head shows over the weekend, to include Martha Raddatz and ABC this week. It was a master class in how to school these leftist commentators that claim to be unbiased. I'll play it for you next. Did you know the defend and defend systems? I mean, obviously, it becomes kind of self-explanatory when I tell you they're an active shooter and physical security consultation and expert firm. But defend actually stands for something, too. And Brink Fiddler, when you go through the training, goes over this. It stands for deter, evade, fortify, evaluate, notify, and defend. Defend, that it means that you have a plan in the unlikely event that something goes awry in a place where people gather, whether it's a school or a church or a place of business. If you're a decision maker in any of these places, I beg of you to call Brink Fiddler and see what he can do for you. He'll come to your place. He will analyze your work environment or your school environment or your church environment. He'll tell you where perhaps the soft points are from a physical standpoint, and then he will train up your team to whatever level you need him to. In other words, you need to know what to do in the unlikely event of workplace violence or a shooting. God forbid it should ever happen to you, but if it does, you need to be trained. Hope is not a plan. Let's get trained. With Defend Systems, they're the best. Go to defendsystems.com or 615-236-6484. 236-6484, Defend Systems.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Don't wait until November, friends. Possibly the number one question I get from listeners, how can we get in the fight with conservatives and libertarians alike? Well, it's critical to know where your dollars are going. Sadly, most credit cards are funneling money to the left, millions as a matter of fact, but now you have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting the liberal agenda. Apply now at coin.com. Spell coin like this, COIGN.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
We are monitoring the latest developments in the Middle East involving U.S. troops. Details coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. That's a good segue into where we're going in the third hour of the show. We're going to talk about a little national defense. We'll talk some southern border. I'm going to ask a question that might make some of you in the 5th Congressional District and the 7th Congressional District smart a little bit. And look, I'm not casting aspersions. I'm here to ask questions, friends. Where's Andy Ogles? I mean, I see him on the Twitter machine every once in a while, on the X machine. Where's Mark Green? Is Mark Green, he seems to be doing things in Washington, D.C. I just don't see them very responsive to their home districts. I'm just throwing it out there. I just don't know where they are.
Weren't you supposed to interview Andy soon?
I don't
Did I hear that somewhere?
That is not true.
Ah, well.
That is incorrect. I cannot get Andy to call me back. I've got his cell number.
That's unfortunate.
And every time I bring this up, somebody says, well, the feds took his cell phone. Well, does he know that there are others? There are other phones?
Yeah.
In existence that he could call me on?
I'll get him a burner.
I mean, look, I'm a voter. I'm not just a loudmouth with the radio show. I live in the 5th Congressional District. I voted for this dude in the primary. I kind of regret it. I don't even kind of regret it. I regret it. And there, I said it.
He should come on the show.
2 o'clock.
Have a conversation about that.
Convince me that I'm wrong. I mean, that's what people do. That's what we do in America, right? It's 2 o'clock on Super Talk.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now, we're monitoring the latest in the Middle East. U.S. plans to send troops and a defense system to Israel. We understand that this missile defense system requires about 100 troops to operate, and the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon is strongly encouraging Americans to leave. The Federal Emergency Management Agency temporarily halting some storm recovery operations in North Carolina amid threats of violence triggered by what some say are false claims and conspiracy theories. The organization, the United Cajun Navy, reporting its volunteers witnessed a resident threatening FEMA personnel stationed at one of their distribution centers in the western part of North Carolina. In a statement, the group calling the threats unacceptable. Cajun Navy Vice President and National Spokesman Brian Trasher urging calm.
Make your voice heard at the ballot box, next month. Don't take it out on these federal employees. They're there to help you, and they really do care about their mission.
Speaking of the ballot box, Democrats rolling out former President Clinton in Columbus, Georgia this morning to stump for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Look for somebody in a MAGA cap to take a picture with. But don't forget, they'll be better off if you win. And you won't be better off if they win.
Well, the latest ABC News Ipsos poll shows the battleground states are tied and voters trust Trump more than Harris to handle the economy. And among those who say the economy is getting worse, and most do, 3/4 of them say they prefer Trump. Sean Diddy Combs update. A new batch of lawsuits accuse the music mogul of sexually assaulting 6 people, including a minor. Reports say it involves a 16-year-old boy. Florida, recovering from Hurricane Milton, rising waters triggering evacuations in the central part of the state. Governor Ron DeSantis says more than 3.8 million electricity accounts have been restored, with about 97% of the state operational since the storm made landfall earlier this month.
Pinellas has about 17% that are out, and then Hillsboro's a little bit more than that. But I think both of the companies, TECO and Duke, have a pretty aggressive timeline for completion in those areas as well.
DeSantis says there are about 369,000 customers still waiting for power. He says more free gasoline is available at 12 different locations, and he's announced $9.5 million to help repair the ports. Boeing workers are beginning the week with questions about whether they'll have jobs much longer. Here's Alex Stone.
For over a month, 33,000 Boeing workers have been out on strike. Negotiations are at a standstill. Now Boeing losing huge amounts of money, saying it will begin laying off around 17,000 employees. Workers out on the picket lines don't know what the future will hold.
I think they're playing a game. It's a cat and mouse game. Who's going to bite first?
Boeing is not saying when the layoffs will begin, but indicates they could be company-wide.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
For the entire month of October, so you still have over 2 weeks left, you can get in on an incredible opportunity with the Glock Store, and I'm here to tell you all about it. You know, the Glock Store, they're always doing something fun over there. And here's a great idea for the Halloween holiday. They have not a spook house, like, you know, haunted house, but a shoot house, and it is a lot of fun. I've seen photographs of. I've not seen it with my own eyeballs. I'm going over this week or next to check this thing out, and heck, I might lay down a time. I cannot win, but I might lay down a time just to see what's up. You could win a $1,000 custom Glock. And if it's this Glock that Dan sent me the picture of, it is pretty cool. It's a Halloween-styled customized Glock for you for being the best shot of the month. All you have to do is go in and pay $30 to run the course. It includes 20 rounds of ammo. And just to make sure it's equal for everybody, everyone's using the same model Glock handgun, which is also included in the price. Now, there's a lot of reasons that I love the Glock Store, but the fun that they have with some of these entertaining competitions is one of them. Now, obviously, they have the Shoot 270 rooms. They've got more Glocks than anywhere else in America. They've got the best selection of accessories and parts, and they have gunsmiths available on site. It's all right there for you at the Glock Store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and open specially for this event till 7 p.m. on Friday and 7 p.m. on Saturday. How about that? It's the one and only Glock Store. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 7 minutes after the hour. Good afternoon. Welcome. We have another hour to get to. We'll hand off to Brian Wilson in the drive at that time. So pleased you've joined us for whatever amount of time you're able to give us. It's episode 671. No, there are a lot of people on the membersnutrition.com super text line at 615-737-9986. There are a lot of people on the super text line that are accusing Bell K of having the brown water flu. We don't believe that that is the case. One, Bell does not typically drink brown water. He drinks tequila, which I think is different. Number two, I think he actually has the flu.
I think so, too.
Although he was on, did you see him on the X machine a minute ago?
Oh, no.
I was giving him hell about it. I was like, oh, nice to see that you're up and at him. And
At least he's put in an effort.
You know what? I mean, that's nice. But then Scott Sapicki texted me. Sapicki out and about, Representative Sapicki from Murray County. He's listening to the show. And obviously he did not hear that Bell was out. So he texted Bell and I about something. It was just a little funny that he threw out there. And Bell responded by saying, "I'm going to murder both of you." That was Bell's response. So I'm assuming that means Bell was asleep and the ding woke him up. I hope so.
Yeah, just a little bit of spite thrown in there.
But Mason Fleming is capably pushing the knobs and making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. We appreciate that. You're here till tomorrow at least, right?
Yeah. Through tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully Bell will be alive and better and well. And there's Ken Weaver in the background. He's constantly delivering headlines twice an hour when they break, and we appreciate Ken for all of that work.
Who's that in the back?
That's Ken Weaver! Yeah! Woo!
Oh, he's not there.
That's all right. That's all right. He's there in spirit. He'll hear this song come a-running.
Yeah, it's a good one too, man.
Oh, yeah. That's a good walk-up. That's a good walk-up song. And you, obviously, on the telephones, and I was about to go to the phones, and then two of them just dropped off simultaneously. But their loss is your gain, 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. It is Columbus Day. It is not Indigenous Peoples Day, although, I mean, whatever. Celebrate whatever you want. I don't begrudge people doing their own thing. What I don't want you to do is to tell me how I have to live my life. I'll live my life in my own fashion, thank you very much, and I will not, through force or fraud, deprive the rights of other human beings, other Americans, their opportunity to live a life of their own fashion. That's the way I live my life. I don't belong to any group that would have me as a member. I am a fierce individualist, meaning that I believe that you get to live a life of your own choosing so long as you're not depriving others through the rule of law, and I'll live a life of my own choosing. So you can celebrate whatever day you want. But today, this day, October 14th, this Monday, it's Columbus Day, and there's not a damn thing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, while I understand that the world was a very, very different place at the time that Christopher Columbus lived in it, the world was a very, very different place, that slavery was commonplace, that entrapping individuals and creating a slave opportunity for those or against those individuals better living, that was commonplace. And I understand that Christopher Columbus wasn't a perfect person. Now, when we grew up as children, we were taught something of a cleansed version of the Columbus story, but on balance, it's Western civilization is still a good thing. It occurs to me that some people that are promoting this concept of Indigenous Peoples Day do two things simultaneously. One, they make a suggestion that everything would be better if none of this ever happened. Who believes that? That all of this would be better if none of this ever happened? By none of this, I mean Western civilization. I mean the exploration of the North American continent and the ultimate settlement on the part of the Dutch and the English and others. Number two, there is this presumption embedded inside of Indigenous Peoples Day that the Native Americans were just at peace with nature and they lived in a place of harmony, and they fully understood the impact of the land, and they fully understood that they had to live in harmonious rapport with the land around them and meditation and all that. And look, there were as many, and one, it homogenizes Native Americans to the point that you can't tell the Aztecs from the Apaches, from the Sioux, from the Cherokee to the Creek. I mean, all of these tribes, the Seminoles and all of these tribes were different. All of these people had different cultures. They were as different and nuanced in their day as we are in our day, and this homogenization that they were all peace-loving and all they wanted to do is smoke them peace pipe and live in harmony with the land, and they only killed that which they needed, and they gave back as much as they got, and it's a load of horse squeeze. They'd cut your throat, man. They'd chop off your hair. They'd kill you if they had the ability. Many of them. Chris said they were at peace with Firewater and peyote. Hey, you're talking my language now. That's my people. By the way, for those who don't know, I mean, and I don't advertise it, but my grandfather's Cherokee. So my heritage is that I'm about a quarter Cherokee, roughly a quarter Cherokee. My father was a quarter Cherokee, which doesn't make me much on his side. My mother and my grandfather was three-quarter Cherokee Indian. His father was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. His mother was half Cherokee Indian. And so I come by my Cherokee heritage honestly, and it is a part of my background. It's not the singular focus that I have in my life. Never has been. It wasn't for my grandfather. I thank my grandfather for many, many aspects of my life, but I cherish him that he did not indoctrinate me that all I was a Cherokee Indian. You know what he indoctrinated me to be? An American. And he indoctrinated me to be an individualist and to be honest as the day is long, to not take from others that which is not yours, and to never let another man chart your own destiny. You are your own person. Live like it. And don't try to chart another man's destiny either. Christopher Columbus had a destiny, and he brought us the New World. Is he a symbol? Sure. Were there already people here? Of course. But he is a symbol of Western civilization, which is why so many leftists in the United States of America nowadays can't handle him and hate him. You know, there's another symbol of expansion that's going on in our midst. And I think it's high time that we celebrated him, maybe not in the same fashion as we celebrate Christopher Columbus, but I'm going to tell you something. If Elon Musk is successful in his desires, did you see what he did over the weekend? So it was 11 years ago, and I promised to the J.D. Vance audio, haven't forgotten about you, I'm going to get to it. It was 11 years ago that Elon Musk took to a stage. I think this is right. 11 years ago, where Elon Musk went to a stage to he was at the National Press Club, and he talked about exploration, and he had started SpaceX. 11 years ago, Elon Musk said this.
So the pivotal breakthrough that's necessary, that some company has to come up with to make...
By the way, I should have set it up differently. He's talking about exploration into space and ultimately getting to Mars and being able to go to Mars, and not only to go to Mars, but to go to Mars to the point that you could ultimately settle on Mars, which is a goal of his. And this is what he says has to happen in order to do that.
So the pivotal breakthrough that's necessary, that some company has to come up with to make life multiplanetary is a fully and rapidly reusable orbit-class rocket. This is a very difficult thing to do because we live on a planet where that is just barely possible. If gravity were a little lower, it would be easy. If it was a little higher, it would be impossible. Just a very tough engineering problem. I wasn't sure it could be solved for a while. But then I think just so relatively recently, probably in the last 12 months or so, I've come to the conclusion that it can be solved. And I think SpaceX is going to try to do it. Now, we could fail. I'm not saying we're certain of success here, but we're going to try to do it. And we have a design that, on paper, doing the calculations, doing the simulations, it does work. And now we need to make sure that those simulations and reality agree, because generally when they don't, reality wins.
I love that line. We need to make sure that those simulations and reality agree, because generally when they don't, reality wins. And he's kind of underselling reality there. That was Elon Musk 11 years ago describing the necessity for an orbit-class rocket, kind of a booster, if you will, that can get something into space beyond our gravitational pull without using that something up. In other words, you've got to get something into space that still has energy and power in it so that it can go to Mars. And you have to do that in a way where you can reuse that booster. I don't know if you caught it over the weekend because the media is not playing this up in the manner that they should, and they're not because Elon Musk is a Trump supporter. I am fully convinced of that. They did that dream that he talked about 11 years ago. They did it this weekend. They took an orbital a booster, they pushed something into space, and the thing came back. And if you missed it, go watch the video. It's more of a visual, so I won't play it for you on audio. It is incredible, dude. This thing is it's a huge rocket. It's not, and it comes back down, and it positions itself back to its base, its home base, and the home base clamps on it, and it's in position. It looks like AI. It looks like artificial intelligence, and it's not. It's real. We will potentially look back on this year, in this month, this week, past weekend, as an incredibly important day in American exploratory history, similar in the nature of the way we look back on Christopher Columbus and his exploration of the Western civilization that we now know as North America, Central America, and the American continents. Is Elon Musk perfect? No. I mean, he doesn't murder people. I mean, Christopher Columbus did get into scrapes, and he did kill people, and he did enslave people. That's what you did back in the day. I'm not excusing it, but I'm also not using presentism to destroy Christopher Columbus in the same way that some want to. Elon Musk is a part of our present, and he is defining what our future is going to look like. He has committed that he wants to land on Mars before his death, and I think we're going to get there. I think we might get there in the next 10 years. It's incredibly exciting. I mean, am I the nerd here? Does anybody else get excited about this kind of stuff?
I want to see it.
I mean, do you want to see it?
Absolutely.
Did you see that rocket this weekend?
I did not see that.
You got to go. The video is it looks like it's fake.
It's so cool. It looks like it's a big CGI mess, but it's real.
We got to have people like that. We got to have people like Elon Musk.
And he called it 11 years ago, Ken. He said 11 years ago at the National Press Club, just played the clip where he's like, this is what you have to do in order. You know, we can talk about going to Mars all we want, but unless we're able to do this thing, you're not going to be able to go. And he just did the thing he was talking about 11 years ago this weekend. That's
wild.
So cool. Where
Wild.
he shot a rocket into space and got it to come back and land where it came from.
And isn't that wild? I was just talking with Chris earlier in the show before. He took his kids to go visit where the Wright brothers first took off. And to think of where we are now, able to launch into space and re-land is
like
wild.
120 years ago.
Wild.
120 years of human history. 120 years of world history. And you think about where we were then, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and where we are now. It's incredible. And more to come from him. And celebrate him. Because the world's about to change over the next 10 years. I'm here for it. All right, I'm here for Don. I'm here for Don. We got a couple of Dons on the line. Huh. I wonder if one of them's Trump. We're going to find out together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So here's an aspect of Paul Winkler that we talk about often. It's his education and the education that he wants to impart on you as a result of your counsel with him. Paul Winkler does not recommend these deferred annuities. You're probably hearing a lot about deferred annuities, and when you hear about them, they sound like a dream, right? But sadly, annuities are almost never used for the purpose for which they are designed, which is paying out a lifetime income. And it's tricky because advisors try to sell you this stuff because they want the commissions on the front end. They're not worried about the life of this thing on the back end. And sadly, there are some, and I'm not going to name names here, but Paul Winkler knows them, I know them. There are some that would suggest to you that you should buy an annuity, a deferred annuity. If you're in your 70s or your 80s, call Paul Winkler. Let him cut through some of this. I promise you, folks, you want to do this. 615-851-1950. 615-851-1950. That is Paul Winkler's telephone number. Give him a call. 15-minute consultation available for you. Or go to paulwinkler.com to find out more. paulwinkler.com. I'm paid to be a spokesperson for Paul Winkler, but I'm also a client. I'm not paid for that. I believe in the way that he does his business. paulwinkler.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Sheriff's deputies in Rutherford County, North Carolina, say they've arrested a man who allegedly threatened FEMA workers trying to help with Hurricane Helene recovery. We'll tell you about it at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. Hey, friends, did you know that you're funding America's future? And it's not the future that you want for you and your kids. I'm talking about most major credit card companies funneling millions of dollars to liberal causes and candidates, hoping that you don't take a notice. Well, take a stand and get the woke out of your wallet with Coin. Coin is the conservative's credit card. You earn cash back while advancing conservative futures. Apply now at coin.com. Now, you spell coin, COIGN.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. As promised, getting your telephone calls. One of the calls by one of the Donalds, we don't know. Donald Trump Jr., another Donald, who knows? Who knows? We'll find out together in moments on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, here's Kamala Harris. Now, this is from a couple of years ago, but just like her position on fracking, just like her position on American energy independence, just like her position on offshore drilling, just like her position on a border wall, just like her position on foreign policy, just like her, I mean, all of these positions, flippy-floppy and changey and, you know, jumpy-jumpy. Does she still believe this? This was from 2021. Hey, give me a little audio there, pardon me, Mason. This is from 2021. Kamala Harris on Columbus Day.
It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, as we speak truth about our nation's history. Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today.
So I wonder if this is still her position. That was her in 2021. That was 3 years ago. Is Kamala out and about today? We need to ask her. Do you still have the same position on Indigenous Peoples Day? I mean, obviously, you're trying to somehow blame the United States of America for crap that happened before the United States of America ever existed. But you do you, boo. You do you. Donald is next in Hendersonville. Hello, Donald.
Hello.
How's it going, Donald?
Well, let's just get into this. First of all, foremost, she has no earthly idea what she's talking about. We all know this. I'm Cherokee. You're Cherokee. Hey, we know that she knows nothing. Indigenous Day, I got news for you. I wish they'd get rid of that because we didn't ask for it. It's an insult to us.
No. And by the way, and I don't know about how you feel about it, Donald. I'm at work, and I think a lot of folks are. I wouldn't care. Get rid of Columbus Day too, for all I care. I mean, all that is a free federal holiday, right?
It's exactly what it is.
I mean,
but at least we got off work with pay.
I mean, I guess more power to them. I'm here, so I'm working. I don't think this is is this a company holiday? I don't think it is.
No.
No, I normally work. I work President's Day because it's so close to the Christmas holiday.
I think it is if you're in the banking industry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you're a federal or state agency or you're in the banking industry, congratulations, you have a day off.
Yeah, but they get every day off.
That's right. Well, I'm right there with you, Donald. Thank you for the call, brother.
Keep it hot and keep it real.
We're going to do it, man. Another Don out of Franklin wants to talk a little Andy Ogles. Hey, Don.
Hey, I would give it up for the Trump group. But anyway, I'm like you. We haven't heard from Andy. The first time around that I voted for him, I did it with tongue in cheek because I just don't trust him for some reason. The problem I've got this time is who to vote for. There's one independent on there that sounds good, but he also wants to reach across the aisle, and that worries me. So if Andy wins and then gets charged with something and he steps down, what happens then? Does the governor appoint somebody?
I don't want to venture a guess. I bet you that there are people listening that know. I don't know what the Tennessee law says about it. So the question is, for those listening on the super text line, or you can call it in, what does Tennessee law say about, I'm willing to bet you that seat remains vacant until there's a special election. That's what I'm willing to guess, but that's just a guess, Don.
Okay.
But there would be a special election held at the next appropriate time, which I would assume would be 2025. So I would be willing to bet that. Now, that's not to say that Andy's done anything wrong, and thank you, Don, for the call. What concerns me, like Don, is the trust factor. When Andy was running, I'm not here to till old ground, but it's important for those just getting up to speed on this issue to know what the background is. The Republicans redrew district lines, and they decided that Nashville deserved representation beyond just the two people. I'll tell you what, I'm late, and thank you, Mason, for alerting me on that. Ken Weaver's got news. We'll do the 2:30 newscast, and then we'll get back to this, and I'll explain it to you and get to Todd's call. And this promise to J.D. Vance audio, it's delicious. It's worth the wait. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in North Carolina, sheriff's deputies in Rutherford County, North Carolina, southeast of Asheville, say they've arrested a man who allegedly threatened FEMA workers assisting in the Hurricane Helene recovery. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
44-year-old William Parsons is charged with a misdemeanor for being armed on the streets with the intent to terrorize. Authorities say while carrying an assault rifle, Parsons stopped at a gas station and made a threat against FEMA employees. Sheriff's deputies investigated the possibility that a truckload of militia members were involved in the threat, but officials say they've determined Parsons acted alone.
Election 2024, Democrats rolling out former President Clinton today in Columbus, Georgia, to try to convince voters that Vice President Kamala Harris is better for the economy.
We are about to finish the 4-year period that will produce the most new jobs of any 4-year period in the history of the United States.
Well, that may be jobs, but new polling shows more people trust former President Trump with the economy than they do Kamala Harris. And more people are sorting out the details of the deadly mass shooting on Saturday after the TSU homecoming parade here in Nashville.
We would have never expected that this would have happened here with all of the law enforcement, all of the public safety people here, the fire department. We would have never have expected this to have taken place.
Metro Police Department spokesman Don Aaron. 24-year-old Von Clay Johnson was shot and killed, 9 others injured as 2 groups of people were shooting at each other just minutes after the parade wrapped up and the crowd was thinning out. Police think 2 of the shooters are among those hospitalized. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, friends, for the month of October, celebrating their incredible 7th year in business, Craft Body Scan is offering you a pretty special deal. It is a $700 off of their full body scan. Let's talk about this because celebrating this anniversary, they're offering you a full body scan for $700 less. It is worth the price, the regular price, but now it's $700 less. It's an amazing opportunity. Not just for great savings, but for you to get inside of the body and understand what's going on, whether it's your stomach area, your intestines, your pelvis, your heart, your lung health, bone density, your chest, the rest of your body. They scan your full body, and they figure out what's going on in there. And Sean and the rest of his team, they can explain it better than I, but your health is worth seeing clearly. I know when I signed up to be a part of the Craft Body Scan team, I wanted to go through it. I did it. It's absolutely incredible. It's non-invasive. It only takes about 7 or 8 minutes. CraftBodyScan.com for more information. That's CraftBodyScan.com, or schedule your appointment today. Schedule that full body scan. $700 off. 615-436-1000. 615-436-1000.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
I think you've heard by now, but this week temperatures are dipping down into the 30s for many of us. Those are cool conditions that will perhaps necessitate you turning on the heater. I love the fall conditions. I love the first time that you turn on the heater, but I love it only in that I have Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling on my side. Do you? You need Jeff Eddy to come out to your home or one of his qualified certified technicians to come out to your home and check that heater to make sure it's operating as it should. For less than $125, and most of you it's considerably less, but it'll never be more, they will come out to your residence. They'll check every heating unit you have. They'll clean every heating unit you have. They'll make sure that it's running as it should to make sure that you're going to get through the winter months appropriately. Because the last thing you want is for something to shut down after it gets pretty darn cold. Secondarily, you don't want all that dust and dander and nastiness. You know what I'm talking about when I say smell that smell when you first turn on the heater. You don't need to smell that smell. Let's give Jeff Eddy a shot at this thing. Let him get it cleaned up before you use it for the first time. Go to efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424. They are an Elite Pro partner with Rheem and great at what they do for Middle Tennessee. It's Efficient Heating and Cooling. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, oh man, fast show today. We touched on Barack Obama. He's back. They're pulling out all the stops. Kamala has a plan for black males. We heard from many black voters, black male voters, and not a one of them said they were voting for Kamala Harris. That's interesting. Maybe that's why she's begging Barack Obama to stump for her. Bill Clinton wagging his finger at the folks. Vote Democrat. Your lucky lives depend on it. Yeah, sure, Bill. Tim Walz out hunting over the weekend. Brand new hunting clothes. It was nice. He looked good. Looked great. Those hunting clothes didn't have a crease. I mean, you could see the creases from the rack. And had him a nice shotgun that he didn't know how to use. Had some trouble there. Yeah. Couldn't get it racked. And by the way, according to sources on the scene, Associated Press and otherwise, Tim Walz and his hunting party, they bagged no pheasants. Mm-hmm. That was the official report. I actually looked for whether or not he fired it. I would bet you my income from now until the end of the year, which I would say, Mason, is considerable, that he didn't fire the gun. I mean, if you can't load the gun.
Probably doesn't know how to properly line it up.
They bagged no pheasants. Mm-hmm. Right.
So do I prop this against my knee? And
he's working it. He can't figure it out.
Come on.
Get out of there. What are you doing? Oh, it's a Beretta. Yes. And then he said something. He said something to the lady like, I have the clip. He said something to the lady like,
please play it
this
again.
thing jams all the time or something. It's like, what? You're bringing a gun that's jamming all the time? What are you talking about, dude? Hold on. Oh, here it is. So here's the exchange. Hold on.
And it never fits quite right.
Oh, that's what he said.
Yeah. That's my theory. And it never fits quite right. Never fits quite right.
He's all jammed up. He can't get it out. He's trying.
What kind of gun is it?
This was a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
Yeah, so when you get old, it doesn't hurt. That Beretta is about $2,000. The kickoff, as he called it, I don't know what that means, is another $1,000 plus. So that's about a $3,000 gun that he can't get to work. He said that it never fits quite right. That's what he said.
That's my theory, and it never fits quite right.
It never fits. So it never fits quite right. That sounds systemic.
I think that's a reliable thing to use.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to have, my grandfather, I inherited a 22, a Winchester 22, which is a barrel load. You load it down the barrel, and the Winchester would. My grandfather shaved the trigger on it because he wanted it a real hair trigger, and he did so in a way where I would be firing the old Winchester, and then when it ejected a cartridge and put another cartridge in, it would just fire that cartridge too. It did it on its own, right? And nice. So I took it in to a guy that I trusted, and I said, I've got to have a new firing pin. My grandfather did something to this one, and he put a new firing pin in it. And so now it doesn't do that when you load it. it does not fire it off automatically. But if I'm standing and I hit the butt of the gun, it just goes off.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm unloading that, and that is a piece to honor my grandfather from now on, and I'm going to get a new 22 rifle, which I did.
It's just funny.
Because you know what? It never just fit. It never quite fit just right.
Didn't fit just right.
So we don't use that gun anymore, right? Tim, not so much.
Didn't give you enough time to look down the barrel, make sure the shell's in place.
Oh yeah, is it down here? What?
Place for you.
There's a great bit going on of him.
It's not quite right. How do you get it?
It's duck hunt. There's duck hunt. There's a duck hunt in the background. Y'all remember Duck Hunt from the Nintendo? He's gonna. That's
the dog
too bad.
come up and laughing at him.
But it's Kamala Harris coming up and laughing at him instead of the dog.
That's good.
Yeah, you had a flyaway there, Tim. That's unfortunate. Okay, I promised this audio. This is J.D. Vance absolutely owning Martha Raddatz on the subject of illegal immigration because the mainstream media has decided that they have to tote the water for Kamala Harris because she's not good enough to win an election on her own. So much so that she's actually sitting down with Brett Baer later on in the week on Fox News, and I expect that will be a tip-top interview. Let's just put it that way. I do not expect that she'll get away without answering some questions that the American people want to know, like where are you on all of these issues primarily. But JD, so the conversation turned to Aurora, and obviously Donald Trump has pointed out that illegal immigration has caused Aurora, Colorado to descend into a hellscape in some areas. And the mainstream media is fact-checking Donald Trump and saying, y'all are making more of this than you should. I think it's fascinating that, they're willing to tell you if Obamacare saves one life, it's worth it, no matter how many billions of dollars it costs, right? And if COVID-19 violates all of our rights to force us to get inoculated or vaccinated, it's worth it if it saves one life. But on this front, Martha Raddatz said, oh, this isn't happening. Listen to this incredible exchange. You'll enjoy it. Hold on. That was on me. Here's the Martha Raddatz and J.D. Vance on ABC's This Week.
I understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
That means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you.
Martha Raddatz, by the way, the condescending attitude that these damn reporters have, it makes me want to throw up. Whether it's her or what's her name on CBS, on Face the Nation, or the other one that was all of them. I mean, they're so I know exactly what's happening. Do you? Are you on the ground, ma'am? You know better than the people that live in Aurora, Colorado, ma'am?
By what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. said. I want to move on to
just a few
women.
apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes that the mayor did not seem was invading the entire city.
You see how she got owned there? And she would not accept the owning? I mean, J.D. Vance is excellent at this type of thing, and we need more of it from now until Election Day. Oh, Donald Trump's exaggerating the problem. Only a handful of apartment complexes. If it's just one unit, if it's just one illegal alien roughing up an American citizen, isn't that one too many? I thought the liberal Democrats said that one is one too many. What happened to... Did you see where Bill Clinton... I'm going to play you the Bill Clinton clip, too, real quick. Bill Clinton admitted he said the quiet part out loud earlier. You know, we're talking about Clinton is now on the stump with the rest of these guys. Listen to what Clinton admitted. It's 30 seconds, and then we'll get to a break. I know I've got to go. Bill Clinton accidentally said the quiet part out loud regarding our border policies. Okay, I don't know why that's not playing like it should. You got me up over there? Well, I can't. I apologize for my audio issues on my end. Bill Clinton said that we got a case in Georgia that happened not a long time ago. He admitted that Laken Riley would not have been killed if the Biden administration had closed the border. Quote, if they had all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened, end quote. So he's admitting that deaths have happened at the hand of the Biden administration. 49 after the hour. It's shameful. The manner in which the media is attempting to cover up for the inadequacies of the Harris ticket. We called it. I'm not declaring a victory yet, but I told you guys, 8-point bounce and then a slow slide because she does not have the goods. 10 minutes until the top of the hour on Super Talk.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Man, a packed Monday. So much on the table I was not able to get to. You know, activist Lilly Ledbetter died at the age of 86. You might only know her from the Lilly Ledbetter Act. I know the backstory on that because our good friend that appears with us on Fridays, Jay St. Clair, he was the lead attorney on the case involving Lilly Ledbetter. More on that tomorrow. Also, the biggest supermoon. I have a fellow space aficionado right here with me, Brian Wilson. Hello, Brian.
Hey, what's going on?
Have you seen this about the supermoon?
The supermoon. No, I haven't seen the latest moon news. Are you beating me on a moon news
I'm beating you
story?
on moon.
Oh my gosh! What is happening?
I figured you would have had the full story. Supermoon coming October 17th, Brian.
Yep. Well, see, I still had 3 days to get my supermoon news in there, but yeah. Now, the big space news was what Elon Musk did this weekend.
Incredible.
By having that rocket take off and land right back from where it came.
Incredible.
I mean, caught the booster rocket right back where it had lifted off from and then grabbed it. I mean, it's amazing. What Elon Musk is doing.
I had a clip from him at the National Press Club 11 years ago, and he said, listen, if you want to go to another planet, if you want to land on another planet, the first thing you have to figure out is how to get a rocket out of the gravitational pull of the Earth and then back. And he said, I don't know if you can do that or not. And he did it. 11 years later, he did it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is amazing.
What else is going on, Brian? You got a lot on the politics side, I'm sure.
I'm going to be bringing you a little bit from Tim Walz. Yeah,
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Yeah, that's from his big press availability this weekend.
Elmer knew how to load a gun.
Yeah, Elmer knew how to load a gun. I mean, you know what? I mean, every guy in the South just went,
"What are you doing?
Are you kidding me? Really?"
Well, he's grabbing on his knees and stuff. But yeah, it was very, very odd. I mean, listen, the Democrats, the Harris-Walz folks, they've not had a good 7 days, Brian.
No, they really haven't. And I'm going to talk about, where the campaign stands right now. I don't want to give away everything I'm going to talk about, but I will say this. The news that Kamala Harris is going to sit down with Bret Baier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bret Baier's a good journalist, and he'll be fair, he'll be balanced, but he's going to ask some hard questions. And the fact that she's willing to sit down on Fox News and give a no-holds-bar interview sort of speaks to me of an act of desperation. They're very, very concerned.
They are deciding to do that. They're, pulling out the big guns, Barack Obama and Bill Clinton on the campaign trail. So something's up. Well, Brian's up right after the news with Ken Weaver, and Ken Weaver's up right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've had fun today, but my time is up. Wilson and the Drive coming up next. Until next time, tomorrow at high noon, have a great afternoon. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.